Okay, we'll call to order the June 10th meeting of the Grand Forks Public School Board. First item on the agenda is the call to order and Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just gonna dial up here.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're just dialing up some of our board members online here. So online we'll have Dave, Cynthia, and Monty once they get on. I'll go ahead and read the school board norms and then we will move on to approval. So the school board norms: be prepared, be on time, value and respect each other, exercise thoughtful deliberation and conversation, be professional at the board table, and when visiting with the general public, speak up when the norms are not being followed, and advocate on behalf of students and keep the community in mind.
Hi, Cynthia.
Just getting our board members online here. Just 1 minute. It's okay.
Cynthia, you still there? Okay, just a second. Monty, is that you? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
This is Dave.
Hi, Dave, thank you.
Yes.
Everybody's here.
Okay, we have officially Dave, Cynthia, and Monty on the phone. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. There's one change on the consent agenda. Page 24 on the first hire is Aubrey Johnson. That was a duplicate from last time. She's already been hired. So if I could get a motion for approval with that amendment, that would be great. Motion by Bill. Is there a second? Second by Joel. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote on that, please.
Manley,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Schaff. Yeah. Tomasino.
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Berger,
Yeah.
Rockler. Yeah.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. We'll move on to public comments. I don't have any blue cards up here. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak? Okay, we'll move on to item 5. We're skipping superintendent's recommendations for discussion because there are none. Superintendent's recommendation for action. Item A is policy review. Dr. Lund?
Thank you. Dr. Shab asked me to report from the Policy Review Committee because she is on the phone, and it's just easier if you're in person. So it starts on electronic page 3, excuse me. And we've got, we've only got about 5 of them, and a couple of them I'm wondering if people are going to have comments or questions. So I think we should just maybe do them individually. What we're requesting from the Policy Review Committee is that we complete an expedited adoption as allowed per our BDA policy, just because there's only one meeting in June. And so let's turn to the first policy, which is on electronic page 8, which is contractor staff resignations and requests for release from contract. This was sent back to the Policy Review Committee primarily to look at the timelines and also the liquidated damages. And we had very vigorous discussion about this, and you can see the changes. They're either in blue, or if you're Bill and I, they're in purple for us colorblind people. But we elected to change the timeline. We felt May 1st was too early based on feedback we've gotten, and also we reviewed multiple policies throughout several school districts in North Dakota. So we're recommending that the first timeline be June 15th through July 31st, and rather than the liquid damages being at 5%, we recommended at 3%. We eliminated the second timeline completely, and then so the new second timeline would be contract from August 1st to 1 day before the first contractual workday, and we changed the liquidated damages from 9% to 5%, and then the last timeline is unchanged. So the unanimous recommendation from the Policy Review Committee was to approve these amendments as outlined and complete an expedited adoption. And I'll entertain any comments from Cynthia or Amber, who are also on the committee. Turn it back to you, Amber.
Any discussion from board members? Okay.
So I would make a motion that we approve the changes as outlined and utilize the expedited adoption policy.
We'll take a roll, or we'll seek a motion for approval, or sorry, a second? Second by Jeff. We'll take a roll call vote.
Larson,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Gockler,
yes,
Lund,
Yes.
Berger,
yes,
Schaaf,
yes,
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Now move on to next one.
Yep, sorry. Second policy starts on electronic page 10. It's recruiting and hiring certified staff. This is a new policy for our school district. It's been recommended by the North Dakota School Board Association and provides guidance for recruiting and hiring certified staff within the district. And I would make a motion that we approve this new policy using an expedited adoption.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, I'll seek a second. Second by Bill. Any discussion? Take a roll call vote, please.
Palmesino,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Go ahead with the next one.
Thank you. The third policy is, for amendment, is employment of relatives/nepotism on electronic page 12. The two changes on this basically are, we wanted the definition of close family member to mirror the recruiting and hiring of certified staff that we just approved. So we changed it so that they're identical. And then on the last, under staff assignments, we wanted to add, and when it can be avoided, so that you don't have teachers teaching close family members. But we felt the caveat, when it can be avoided, should be put in there, because there are instances where it can't be avoided. You know, an example could be Mr. Larson might teach advanced quantum physics, and he's the only one that teaches advanced quantum physics in the school district, and there may be a relative that wants to take that class. So that was the unanimous recommendation from the Policy Review Committee. I would make a motion that we approve the amendments to employment of relatives/nepotism using an expedited adoption.
Is there a second? Second by Jeff. There's actually 3 changes. There's also is to as, but that was just a typo.
What, Dad, what?
Is to as, too, but just wanted to point that out.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can't see with that color.
Yeah.
So.
We did also talk about this policy potentially coming back, so you might see this again, because we just talked about in the event that a relationship isn't currently occurring, what happens then when it ends up occurring. It wasn't really specified in here, so we're going to do some more digging and looking at this policy at a later date, so you might see it come back again. But as for right now, we're asking for these changes to be adopted. So there's a motion and a second. We'll take a roll call vote.
Gockler,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Palmesino,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. We'll move on to the next one, KACB.
Yeah, complaints about personnel starts on page 14. I think there were quite a few comments several board members made when we were utilizing this policy last time that it really wasn't very effective, and felt there should be changes made. And we look kind of at 3 things at the Policy Review Committee. One was having complaints handled at the lowest possible level, utilizing a mediator or an arbitrator or a consultant. And then also we talked about having an external third party conducting the investigation rather than the president. And you'll see those thoughts outlined on the bottom 3 paragraphs in blue. This doesn't change the policy end result, but it does add some steps of trying to help resolve the conflict at an earlier stage, similar to all the other employees in the district other than the superintendent and business manager. So the first paragraph talks about trying to resolve it at the lowest possible level, and if it's not able to be resolved there, to involve the Director of Human Resources and the school district's legal counsel to make sure that it's appropriate to retain an external mediator, arbitrator, or consultant to facilitate the resolution. Second paragraph really talks about how to choose or pick the mediator, arbitrator, or consultant. And then the third paragraph talks about if it can't be resolved at that level, it goes to the board president, who then will appoint an external independent third party to conduct the investigation, and that individual or individuals, I suppose, possibly would be charged to report back after the investigation back to this body for any final action. So those were the changes that we recommended to the complaints about personnel policy. And the Policy Review Committee unanimously approved this and recommended undergo expedited adoption. I would make that motion.
Is there a second? Second by Bill. Discussion? Go ahead, Joel.
The last sentence of the third new paragraph, we're going to have an external third party hire another external third party without overs. I mean, that's just that language I don't particularly like. Because we already, I mean, if it's under the direction or in conjunction with the board president, I think we'd probably want to have some parameters around that. While I like attorneys, sometimes attorneys hire other attorneys. And I just think our bill could be exorbitant if not monitored by a person.
I think our thought with that was that we felt like most third-party people would probably have an attorney on staff, or like that they would have the expertise in-house. But for some reason, if they didn't and felt it necessary to hire a legal opinion, that was kind of just like if in fact every single circumstance of arbitrator or third party. So that was our line of thinking. Not that it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but
Sure.
I think that's where we were kind of looking.
I think maybe if you wanted to, you could put the external third party may hire an attorney or consultant to assist with consultation with the president or something like that, if you want to put something like that in.
I just think that to avoid some of those unknowns, I think you could add a qualifier of, in consultation or if as agreed to by board president, just to put in to tie it in there. And then I hope we never have to use this policy again.
Yeah. Or would it be helpful to do as approved by
The
board president?
Yep.
Just give it more teeth a little bit.
I'm willing to modify my motion to add that in there.
So it would say the external third party may hire an attorney or consultant to assist with the investigation process, comma, as approved by the board president.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, are you okay with that? Okay. Did you have something,
I
Bill?
think it was Bill that made the second.
Oh, sorry. Jeff's okay with it.
Agrees. Jeff agrees.
Okay, Bill, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Other discussion?
This is Cynthia.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I think that Joel made a good point there, so thank you for that. I just want to say, we deliberated on this one quite a while. We did have Laura Cobb helping draft some of the language, but I feel a whole lot better about this as a process, with just more people involved. From the get-go, with an opportunity for a complainant to have a conversation with the superintendent. I think that was just really unfortunate with the last policy, and I believe that the North Dakota School Board Association is going to look at this policy again, too, based on our experiences. So I feel better about this policy. I still feel pretty bad about the way it was handled with that other policy. So thanks for the work on this.
Other discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Scott Clark,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Tomasino,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Go ahead with the next one, Dr. Lund.
And the last one is the staff code of conduct on electronic, page 16. Basically, the changes to this are mirroring what we just approved on the complaints for about personnel, so we just basically cut and pasted that into this policy, so they mirror each other. And I would make a motion that we approve the amendments to policy DE in an expedited adoption.
Do you want to add the same addition that we added for the last one then?
Oh, yes, I think we should do that, yes.
Okay, so we're also going to add, or suggest to add to DE, as approved by the board president to that last sentence.
Sentence, yeah. Yes, I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll seek a roll call vote, please.
Palmesino,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes,
Manley,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes,
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
motion carries. We'll now move on to consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Lund. And that is we approved the agenda, but the consent agenda was with that one subtraction of the name. We'll take a roll call vote, please.
Lund,
yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Palmesino,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes,
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
motion carries. We'll now move on to the consideration of SRO agreements for 2024-2025. Dr. Brenner?
Maybe Catherine.
Thank you, Dr. Brenner. And Madam Chair, on page 35 of your packet, you can see a memorandum from me about the upcoming SRO agreement. Just to remind you, we've had an SRO agreement memorandum of understanding in place for, well, as long as I've been in the district. We currently have an SRO, a school resource officer, at all of the in-town middle and high schools, and each of those officers also supports additional elementary or community high school or off-site programming. Last year, we added an SRO sergeant to the deal. It is a sergeant that supervises that crew, makes sure that there is equity across our programming, helps to sub in when they are gone for extended periods of time, and we do not pay for that position at this point in time. It is a goal of the police department that we pitch in there eventually, but they have offered that up just as a way to bolster their service through our schools. In addition, another tradition that we plan to continue this year that we started last year is a bit of a summer program where we are looking to build a bench of future SROs who can fill in throughout the year and get a taste of what that's like. And hopefully when there are openings down the road, they are willing to jump in because they know what they're getting into at that time. So the MOU basically reads the same as last year, but financially there's an increase of $15,261.86, which really is just in alignment with their salary increases and the cost of insurance as well. So the administrative recommendation is to approve the memorandum of agreement, school resource officer services for the term beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025, and to authorize Dr. Brenner to sign the agreement. I'll entertain any questions at this time.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Lund.
It's been a few years, so I'm just trying to remember. What kind of educational opportunities do the SROs provide students in the schools? I mean, besides all the informal, which is probably the most important stuff they do in the hallways and things like that, but is there anything formal that they do?
Yeah, great question. So we have switched curricula over the course of time. Years ago, they operated the DARE program, if you're familiar with that. And there was research that said that wasn't as effective as we wanted it to be. So we actually constructed a local programming curriculum called The Middle for our middle level learners, and it's about resisting peer temptations and how to stay healthy and things of that nature. And so at the middle level, that is where the formal curricula is delivered. I'm not going to guarantee that it is done with efficacy, meaning that every student gets every lesson just because of the pushes and pulls on our SROs, but there is an attempt at the middle level in particular. And otherwise, like I said, it's kind of the teachable moments. There is a piloted program that we are going to look at instituting this coming year that is more of a restorative practices program that our Valley Middle School Officer Hoffman has been producing. That was intended to target students who maybe have gone down the path of offending and been cited for some sort of an offense, so that they're going to educate and try to kind of rehabilitate outside of the judicial system. So that's something we intend to pilot this coming year, but it hasn't quite yet been approved.
Any more questions? If not, I'll seek a motion for approval. Motion by Dr. Lunn. Is there a second? Second by Josh. Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Shab,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Now move on to item D, designation of authorized representatives for title and other federal programs and competitive grants for 2024-2025.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll take this in Mr. Baki's absence this evening. Page 40 of your electronic packet outlines the purpose for having somebody designated to these federal programs and competitive grants. It's a requirement that we appoint and that the board approved these authorized representatives for the programs or the grants. And these assignments must be documented in school board meeting minutes, of which would be before you tonight. So listed below are the title and other federal programs and competitive grants and their recommended representative. The first one, Title I, would be Matt Bakke, Assistant Superintendent. Title II, Matt Bakke. Title III, Matt Bakke. Title IV, Matt Bakke. Title V, Matt Bakke. Title VII, Matt Bakke. And Title VIII, which is Impact Aid, either myself, Terry Brenner, or Brandon Bombach. Title IX would be Griffin Gillespie, our HR Director. And number 9, Indian Education Formula Grant would be Matt Bakke. Number 10, Johnson O'Malley Act, Indian Education would be Matt Bakke. Head Start would be Matt Bakke. 21st Century Community Learning would be Matt Bakke. District Homeless and Foster Care Liaison would be Sarah Berg. The CLSD grant, that's a literacy grant, over the course of a number of years would be Amy Barch, Chief Academic Officer. And finally, Food Service would be Wendy Mankey, Director of Child Nutrition. The administrative recommendation is to approve the authorization of the designated individuals as the authorized representatives for the above title and other federal programs and competitive grants for the 2024-2025 school year as presented.
Any questions? If not, I'll seek a...
one question.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Which school is where is Sarah Berg located, please?
Sarah Berg is right here at MSEC, is where her
And
office
what-
is.
Is she a social worker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, I'll seek a motion for approval, please. Motion by Bill, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. Take a roll call vote, please.
Berger,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. We'll now move on to item E, consideration of high school streaming proposals. Mr. Biermeyer?
Well, good evening, everybody. Mike Biermeyer, District Activities Director here, to give you a little update on our proposal that we put out there requesting regarding the high school streaming of our events. So we did get a response back from News Radio right here in Grand Forks from KNOX. And I would like to say just up front, globally, I think that with the help of Mr. Bombach here, we put together somewhat of a detailed RFP, and KNOX came back and really addressed every aspect of what we were looking for. And again, to remind you, we have this idea of what we want with this proposal, but we need those experts with KNOX Media as one of those to come back and say, based on how we work in our system, here's what we think we could do. So happy to come back here and report some of the highlights of that if I can have time to do that. So there are some things, some tweaks that we'll have to do. So again, in the end, what we're like my memo says there, in the end, what we're looking for is for Mr. Bombach and I to be able to work with KNOX on some things that we would need to tweak. So it'd be that negotiating to come up with a final kind of plan that we're going to put together. Another reminder is that this is a non-exclusive plan that we're putting together. So any media source for streaming would be able to comply with what we are asking. I guess that's the way to put it. So some of the key highlights there is, the plan that they put together was for a 75 minimum game coverage. Very happy to report that as they sift through the schedule, they were able to put an equitable piece together as far as what sports we're putting together. And I'm going to stop right there and remind that when it comes to fine arts, that's something we're going to have to work on, because there are some contractual copyright, things like that we have to work on. So this is just kind of, as I say, we're just dipping our toe in this. And I think this first look at it is going pretty well. And to be more specific on that, what they put together is we have schedules right now for fall and winter. So kind of a brief run through. When we look at these in the fall, we're looking at about 23 games, and all of this could be adjusted. This is just one idea, is they're looking at doing about 23 games, and they're covering 7 soccer, 7 volleyball, 8 football, and I asked them let's try and put something together for that border battle cross country. There are some things like swimming and tennis. Tennis is outdoor. We have to look at what events we're going to be able to do with tennis. And with swimming, we're still working on what events we're actually going to be hosting. So that's not listed on this RFP in there. Winter got broken down pretty well also, I believe. Specifically, we got boys hockey at 12, girls hockey at 6, boys basketball 7, girls basketball 9. Wrestling doesn't host a whole lot per se, but we do have 2 boys wrestling and 1 girls wrestling. So we're covering almost everybody there. And again, boys swim would have to be added. And then it got on to spring. We need to work on those because we just don't know exactly, hey, when are we going to start spring? If we had a good spring, like last year, we'll be starting early. So still a lot to put together. But again, just keep in mind, this is information coming back from them for what we're asking is, can you do this? Can you look at a 75-game minimum plan? What would this be worth to you? So very happy to come back with some of those things there. Some of the other highlights, I asked them, involve students. Involve students. One way is they're willing to train the students to actually work for KNOX, where they're getting paid to do this job. There's another plan. When we have JV games out there, they're going to teach these students, and this would be probably more of a volunteer opportunity. They're going to teach the students to try and replicate what they do at the varsity level, to do at the JV level. They'll be right there. They'll be teaching them and helping them. So we're not only just trying to get to those varsity ones, we're trying to get some viewership for those JV and sub-varsity events too. Student-driven promotional packages, where we can have events that are coming up. And this is where we can get into the fine arts. We can really start promoting some of our fine art events with our students on the radio, their voice, and even some video coverage of that. We'll get into possibly putting video promotionals together where we're highlighting, the student would be driving this and we'd be highlighting coaches and programs, special interest ideas that they would air at different times on their streaming events. Maybe it'd be during a halftime, maybe it'd be a pregame show. Might only be 3 minutes, could be 7 minutes. So there's just a lot of things that I asked them, what could we do to help expose more of our kids, get our kids interested in broadcasting, and not only just hit the sports, but the fine arts. So I think they covered or checked off a lot of our boxes. There are, again, still some tweaks that I think we need to look into. Like one thing, as an example, I would like to make sure that we're looking at a 25-game minimum or a 20-game minimum, so we don't just have a company coming in and doing one game. That's part of the problem right now, is when we don't know who's coming in all the time. That wasn't mentioned in here, and that's okay. So Mr. Baumbach and I will work on creating that final plan. Is that what we want to include? There are, some of those little tweaks like that we'll have to negotiate through. But at this point, any questions with a little brief overview? Sure.
Not a question, just a comment. I just want to publicly thank KNX for stepping up and doing this. And, the income is something, but I'm more excited about the exposures and the grandparents that are out in Devil's Lake that can't get to the games. I'm more excited about that. Now, I'm in one of those senior citizen eras, so we got to figure out the technology for us older people. But I think that's what really excites me, is that being able to get this out to relatives, friends, things like that may not be able to go to the game. So I'm really excited about that, and I want to thank them publicly for that.
I appreciate those comments, and I too want to thank them for doing that, and also understanding that one of the important pieces I think that I have, and I think that you would agree with me, is we do not want a paywall at this point. I think in the future, I'm kind of coming to the understanding that maybe that's going to happen. There's paywalls for a lot of other things, but right now for us, I just feel that exposing to our grandparents all that they can watch with their grandkids is the first and foremost.
Other questions or feedback? I'm mostly.
Amber.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Amber. This is Monty. I would just say thank you, Mike, too, for your work on this. I love the idea that you're going to be potentially training students. What a great opportunity for them, and the fact that they would be potentially looking at junior varsity game that just highlights students in another realm of capacity, right? And I also appreciate your comments about pursuing fine art and making sure that parents or grandparents can also listen to, an orchestra or band or choir concert. I think that's as equally important. So I appreciate your attention to that as well. Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to echo when I went on the CTE tours a couple years ago, one of the things that some of the centers had was a dedicated space for like journalism and broadcasting. And I think it was, different here, but we kind of said this would be cool to add at some point in its capacity, and I think this kind of gives an opportunity to provide an extra opportunity or exposure for extracurricular to students. I'm glad KNOX is willing to take that on, so I think that's a cool component of this, that you might have a lot of people to step forward and be interested in that too. So good learning opportunity. So
Amber, I'm sorry, I had a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Sorry. First of all, thank you so much for involving the students in this. I really like that part of it. I think I should know the second comment I have, and then a question. The second comment is, I wonder if you've spoken to anybody in the theater arts programs to make sure that this is something that they are interested in. Just wondering if you've done any inquiry on that.
At this point, I've had zero in-depth conversations other than I need to go slow and be careful. So those conversations will be happening. One thing I do know is the promotion of our fine arts events is something that I think they're absolutely willing and ready to accept. I mean, the more exposure we can get to them of their upcoming events, the better. But I know from past experience, when you want to put out the production out there in a streaming world, you do have to be careful. And I will rely on those experts, and I'll go to them and say, okay, we're looking at this platform now. We're kind of got some steam going. How can we incorporate all of the fine arts?
Yeah, I think because of some music, I would just expect that some music would be blocked, or you wouldn't be able to stream it. But again, I'm not an expert on that. But I just want to encourage that you include those voices in any decision. And then my last question, I feel like I just should know, and so I apologize. So if the district's getting money, it's 62,250 in here. I'm sure that's an approximation. So, who does pay for it? Is it just the advertisers?
Correct. And that's part of the piece that we lean on the media experts like KNOX. And quite frankly, the question is what can you afford? There's a certain level of their broadcasting packages that they understand has a value for radio, and they're understanding that their streaming with radio has a different level. And I think that's where they're very interested in putting this plan together, or helping us put this plan together.
Sure. Okay. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
To Cynthia's first comment, I really took and read through the proposal that regarding the fine arts, because none of those were listed on the activity schedule. It doesn't mean that they couldn't be added within that package, but what I took from that is that there was going to be a focus on the promotion piece and advertising as another angle of, so, hey, we have this upcoming production, or Grease is playing this summer, rather than the actual videoing of those. Not that that's off the table, but I agree. I mean, I think knowing that this is an option now, it would be nice then to go back and say, okay, could we make this work? Do you even want it? But I don't think anyone would turn away free advertising of their event. And so I really took in the proposal that for the fine arts piece right now, it was more so just promotion of.
100% correct. That's the safest thing to step forward with, is they'll always accept the promotion.
Yeah.
So we can do that for sure.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we'll seek a motion for approval. Motion by Bill, is there a second? Second by Jeff. Take a roll call vote, please.
Lund,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Palmesino,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Parson,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes,
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
motion carries. Thank you. Now move on to consideration of use of building fund dollars for the Grand Forks Central Weight Room rehabilitation.
Thank you, President Flynn. This is a really exciting project because it's what we can do when we work together. This is really unique because this used volunteer time from coaches and athletes. This used in-house work from our maintenance team, as well as specialty contractors. And this is also a split pay between us as maintenance seeking to pay for the flooring in the Grand Forks Central Weight Room, as well as the athletics, athletics department paying for specialty equipment. To give an overview, essentially the weight room in Central was located upstairs near the gym, and it was often disruptive because of the dropping of weights. We were getting complaints from teachers downstairs that it was, they had issues teaching, and they had issues even thinking because they could hear it all the time. So we saw an opportunity there because the flooring in the room was outdated, and it wasn't a great space. So we had moved that downstairs, and we had moved the fitness room upstairs. And through that process, the Grand Forks Public Schools maintenance staff did all the structural work, did all the electrical work, and the athletes and coaches did the moving of the equipment. And in addition to that, as part of this memo, I'm seeking building fund dollars to pay for the replacement of the specialized rubber flooring. I don't have specifics on the athletics portion of that, but my portion is specifically just this flooring. So I'm just seeking permission. The administrative recommendation is to approve use of $42,386.37 of building fund dollars for rehabilitation of the Grand Forks Central Weight Room. I take any questions at this time.
Any questions? Mike, will you stay around for this one? Thank you. Any questions from board members? So I have a question that
Yeah.
Mike might know the answer to. But I heard that the weight room at Central is actually also available and utilized by middle school students. Anyone know the answer to that?
I wish I had a better answer.
Okay.
I do not know.
So I had a friend post on Facebook the other day about that they were really excited because Grand Forks Central has opened up their weight program to middle school students this summer. And so that might be something that was a new addition that maybe the coaches just allowed or whatever. But I just wanted to say that I think as we're talking about who gets use out of this, I think it's a great like health and fitness thing that is exposed at an earlier level. So just wanted to make that point. But
I will say that the number of sessions that we had open up that we traditionally have exceeded capacity. So we had to open up more sessions. One, more room, all that stuff, but there's just excitement and there's some just energy going on with this program. So they say you build it, they will come. Well, this kind of proved it too. We have a nice facility and there kids that really want to work out.
so to that end, it is a program that's getting utilized and it is a high demand, maybe what you would say.
Yeah, I would say very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, in the first year, like I said, we had to open up a couple more sessions.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay,
Amber, I know you're correct on that. The middle school students are open, are going this summer. I know that.
okay. Okay,
I'd just like to go on record to thank Mr. Tony Bina and Mr. Stetson Carr for getting outside of their comfort zone and really spearheading a construction effort. So kudos to them.
thank you. Do we have a motion for approval of the transfer, not the transfer, the use of $42,386.37 of building fund dollars for the rehabilitation of the Grand Forks Central Weight Room? Motion by Josh, is there a second? Second by Bill. Take a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Palmasino, Shab,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes,
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
motion carries. We'll now move on to item G, consideration of special reserve to fund transfer. Mr. Bombach, welcome back.
Thank you. President Flynn, members of the board, happy to be back and happy to be talking about this item here. Just as each and every year, we have a property tax mill levy that collects against a special reserve fund that's there for exactly what the name suggests, is it's a reserve in case we should exceed the budget in certain areas, including teacher salaries, heat, light, and fuel. And this is anticipated to take place here, and when that happens, you can take up to half or 50% of that balance of the fund. What this memo articulates here is that the current special reserve fund balance is $1.8 million, and so 50% of that is $912,000, just a little more than that. Although these numbers will continue to come in, especially with summer school, those teacher salaries will come in. This is the maximum amount we're anticipating here, and the administrative recommendation is really approval of up to that amount to transfer the $912,807.24 from the special reserve fund to the general fund to offset that over budget expenses we've articulated. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that. We've done this in recent years. Ideally, when we get into a better spot, we will let those special reserve fund dollars bank, and they do bank to a certain extent where more or less anything over that will just flow into the general ledger. But as of right now, we will the administrative recommendation is take that half amount to make sure we stay on track with the budget.
Questions, comments? Okay. I'll seek a motion for approval, please. Motion by Dr. Lund. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Assuming no discussion, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Shab,
Yes.
Palmesino,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Thank you. Brandon, you take the next one.
Yes, absolutely. So the next agenda item here related to property insurance renewal. Each and every year, we worked with Voller Insurance, and they are a Marsh & McLennan agency, to solicit insurance, property insurance bids. They will work with the usually it's 5 leading insurance companies that are large enough to really work within North Dakota for school districts our size. And we will compare with this year's current company, Liberty Mutual. We'll get the renewal of Liberty Mutual and then solicit other responses. What you have attached on electronic page 59 of your board packet is the results of such a process. The process started back in April, and each year it comes in just a little bit differently as we try to solicit new responses. So just to kind of orient you on the document that I've just referenced, there are 4 columns here. On the first column, it's a description of each of the coverages. What's important to note is there are subtables, and the first subtable is labeled property insurance. That's really what we're discussing, because per North Dakota Century Code, anything greater than $50,000 in the insurance world in particular that is not provided by ENDR for the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund is what needs explicit approval from the board. So you'll see other categories, including equipment breakdown insurance as you go down the page, general liability insurance, inland marine insurance, and so on, that don't meet that requirement. They're either provided by North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund or they're under the $50,000 limit. So really, just wanted to scope the conversation tonight is really the first subtable, that's property insurance, although the rest of the information is relevant and pointed out here. So the first column describes the types of coverages. The second column, really dated 6/30/2023 through 24, is a description of what we currently hold in this fiscal year. So that's where we're coming from. The next column to that is that same company, although it's labeled as employer company of Wasau. That's a sub of Liberty Mutual. So that's the renewal. That's if we stuck with the same company, what the renewal would be. And then the final column, or the fourth, is Travelers, who you might recall we've had as our property insurance provider for quite a few years prior to having switched to Liberty Mutual last year. So a couple of the couple takeaways here, would be that you'll see, and I'm happy to go through the tables, but when you pull it all together, electronic page 61, there is a row about midway through that's in maroon or colored in, that's total annual premium, and that's the summary of each of these columns that I just will orient you towards. So the summary on the current insurance cost of this fiscal year would be $497,000. When you go to the renewal, it's an increase to $587,000. That's a significant increase. For this reason, again, we're soliciting further responses, and at this point, we'd only gotten a response, in addition to what I mentioned, the renewal of the company is from Travelers, and that's increased much more significantly, of just over $1 million. So what in working with Volver Insurance here, they wanted to point out a couple of things that are happening out there. One is that property market is changing. So this is noted on the memo, electronic page 58, and described to us from Volver that the property insurance marketplace continues to be a challenge regarding the school district. It's not a reflection of our performance per se, but it's that property owners in general throughout the Midwest and the entire United States are experiencing this. And so there's a little bit of work of saying, how can we hedge what's taking place here? And one way we can do this is described in the third point on this cover memo, which is other markets. And Volver has been working with Affiliated FM for a quote. And in the initial conversations, it seems favorable that should we get a response from them, and there's no guarantee that they will, although they continue their work, it should bring this number down. And by this number, I'm referring to the increase from 497 to 587. So what the administrative recommendation currently is here would be to provide me the approval to, or the authority to sign off and approve an annual premium not to exceed the $587,000 mark that is listed here with the renewal of the same company. So in other words, we can't do any worse with the information we have here, but we have until June 30th to get that final quote that's out there, in hopes to bring the number down just a little bit.
Go ahead, Dr. Lund.
Just a minor question. You're saying 587, but in the memo it says 589. Which one do you want us to make a motion to, just so we do the right one?
No, my apologies there. It'd be 587,379 would be the quote that we have, so we know we wouldn't do any more than that amount.
So 589 is okay?
It is okay, yeah, we could do that, yeah.
Other questions? Okay. Well, we need a motion first. Brandon can't make a motion. He's just seeking one.
Bill thought I had already motioned with that
okay.
comment, but I'll make a motion that we approve it at 580, no more than 589.
Okay. No, okay. Motion by Dr. Lund, second by Bill. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Gottler,
Yes.
Manley. Yes. Tomasino,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes,
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to announcements. Dr. Brenner.
Well, we have some people to recognize, but not everybody is here. Our two student board members are not here, and Dr. Shab is on the phone, so we'll have to figure out another way to recognize Dr. Shab for her years of service on the board. So we will work that out and have her come back to a meeting so we can appropriately recognize her.
Sounds lovely.
I do have one announcement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking liberty since this is my last meeting. So World Refugee Day is downtown at the Town Square this coming Saturday, and I appreciated the superintendent for putting that in the Friday focus. But what I wanted to say is we have a high school group of ML students under the direction of Kathy Cuddle King doing a little bit of a performance, and then a 3rd and 5th grade class from Lake Agassiz will be singing a song too. So the Grand Forks Public Schools and Spa is represented. I'd invite anybody to come down. It's going to be a fun morning.
You said that was at Town Square?
It is the first farmers market of the season. Yes. The farmers market opens Saturday down at the Town Square.
Okay,
Program starts at 10.
thank you. And just as an announcement with recognition of our outgoing student board members, maybe we can have them come back to at some point. But Dr. Benner, you have identified some new students that you'll announce today or later. I don't know.
Later, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, we have two committed students.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then the annual meeting is Monday, July 8th, 2024, 6 p.m. at MSEC. There has been early voting occurring, and there'll be the voting at your precinct location tomorrow. So we may have some new board members, who knows? But July 8th is our general, yes, our general annual meeting. So, okay. Any other announcements? Okay. Future considerations from the board.
I actually have two.
Okay, go ahead.
One is I wanted to get an update on the central pool. I almost asked that question when you were talking about the central update there, but the second is the ML forum that was held. I wondered if there's going to be a summary of the findings as the general public forum, and if so, that would be great to have an idea of what happened.
Thank you for those, Cynthia. Okay, I think we did pretty good for our school board norms. Hour meeting, I think that's a good summer meeting time. So, okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.